Well, that's a wrap. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Washington Capitals in a meaningless game here at PPG Paints Arena, 5-2. I am Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms, YouTube and Facebook. It's rather fitting that most of the lights here are off. The last person out hit the switch as the Penguins complete their 82-game schedule. A couple of games under Hockey 500. There will be no playoffs. There will be very few individual goals other than the Penguins' top line and a couple of sparkling rookies who made a pretty good impression this season. We're not going to break down the game Thursday night. Brian Rust had a couple of goals. Sidney Crosby had a goal and an assist. The crowd, I thought it was a great moment for Penguins fans. Not only did Penguins fans give a pretty good cheer when the team showed a video tribute to Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's record, but even when Ovechkin scored a power play goal from, guess where, top of the circle, just rockets one past Alex Nedeljkovic. Even as that happened, I think even some Penguins fans sort of cheered. They understood what they were seeing. The two old Lions won't do this forever. Ovechkin at 39, Crosby at 37. They had some fun with everybody on Thursday night, just kind of reminding people, they're still that good. As Brian Rust noted, they saved the league. The NHL was not in a great place 20 years ago, coming out of that full season lockout. Crosby and Ovechkin, they rode to the rescue, and they carried the league on their shoulders for most of the last 20 years. Sure, there's Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon, but let's be honest, those guys still in the public, my voice is going, those guys still in the public sphere don't carry the weight of Crosby and Ovechkin, do they? Let's talk about a couple of things. I'm going to take you inside the Penguins locker room, because I don't know if you watched the Ville Koivunen video. I had some fun with the rookie on Thursday night. Thought he had his first goal. At least we did. He knew he didn't, because he kind of, deflects the puck into the crease and follows it face first. Puck hits the post. It's laying there on the goal line. Just kind of knocks it in with his hand. Referees took about 10 seconds to review it. After ruling a goal, referees were like, no, you can't do that. So I asked Ville after the game, did you hit it with your hand? He's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, you can't do that, right? He laughed and he's like, oh, after I scored the goal, I found out I can't do that. So these rookies and a lot of these new guys in the Penguins locker room this year brought a certain refreshing candidness, availability. I will tell you full out, the last couple or a few years in the Penguins locker room, it was like pulling teeth to have conversations, to get the information that you want, that I wanted. It really was kind of a difficult place to work. No, I'd worked other locker rooms. I've done Vegas and all kinds of other teams in the past. And because the Penguins were such a veteran-heavy team, they understand maybe that, they didn't need us. Leave me alone. In fact, there was an incident I was told about. I can't confirm it firsthand, but I trust the person who told me that one of the older veterans pulled aside one of the media-friendly players in the middle of last year and said, stop talking to them so much. Meaning, them meaning us. And that veteran is no longer with the Penguins. But, I still kind of, a year and a half later, I still carry a bit of a grudge, because that denied all of us information, but it also was part and parcel to just what kind of room the Penguins had. Far too old and maybe too established and too difficult to motivate. All of those sorts of things. And those things certainly carried over into this season. Terrible start. First 20 games, the Penguins were garbage, were they not? Didn't show up for a lot of games. Terrible defensively. Bad goaltending. They were way behind. They were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference or next to last. They had a pretty good middle 20 games, especially in the heart of December. They got back into it, and I don't know about you, I began to actually believe in the possibility of the team making the playoffs. I know they were well out of it on Thanksgiving, but they were playing such good hockey in December, and they have so much talent. Like, this is kind of what I expected. And yet, one of the colleagues heading out for the summer. And yet, it collapsed. It completely fell flat. They fell flat on their face coming out of the Christmas holiday break. From there into February, they had just 7 wins in 18 games through January and February. That was it. The bad start combined with that third 20-game segment, they were toast. And they deserved to be toast. It wasn't until the young players began to come up that the room began to refresh again. I mean, listen, I had a lot of fun talking with Cody Glass this season, Ryan Shea, Philip Tomasino, Owen Pickering. There was definitely a new wave of players in the room that I could ask questions of. That I could say, okay, what happened here? Or maybe what's going on there? And begin to find out things. I don't know if you noticed a more insightful depth to my coverage this season. I mean, I did cover all freaking 82 games. I would hope so. But I was able to glean a lot more, even as Mike Sullivan began to shut me down later in the season because he didn't want to talk about some of the issues that I needed to talk about. I mean, look, they're out of the playoffs. I don't need to talk about a Tuesday night game or a goal here or there. I wanted to talk about bigger issues, and that just isn't Mike Sullivan's cup of tea. So even when I asked some softball questions, I was getting, the Iron Curtain there. But I could still go in and, have some conversations with the room, and what a lightness and a freshness that the rookies have brought. Rutger McGroarty, Ville Koivunen, having some fun. Look, they know this team isn't making the playoffs. Now, Koivunen is going to head to Wilkes-Barre tomorrow, probably. He'll go through his morning physical, grab his equipment, head to Wilkes-Barre. I don't know if he'll play Friday night for Wilkes-Barre, or I think they've got a game Saturday as well. Maybe I'll race him. Maybe I'll race him to Wilkes-Barre. It's been a journey this season. There's no question. There were times when that room was as dark and miserable as I've ever seen it. And yet, the last 20 games, by the way, their record in the last 17 games, 10-5-2. You want to know, oddly, when their winning began? You might want to sit down for this. Right? Put your drink down, steady yourselves. The winning began March 9th. They lost in Las Vegas, but that was the first game that Tristan Jarry started after his recall. That was the first game of part 2 of the Tristan Jarry Odyssey, he tried to say. 10-5-2 down the stretch. Alex Nedeljkovic got the win on Thursday. He had a pretty good season. I think you toss out the Penguins goalie statistics. We haven't even touched on the Penguins defenseman yet. I think that's a topic for another day. I think I know the Penguins defense is just in tatters. They actually kind of played well. Not that they were pushed too hard by Washington on Thursday, but what a difference when the Penguins defense doesn't kill them. They're not a bad team. And if there's any hope you want to glean from this season going forward, it's obviously the rookies. It's obviously a ridiculous season once again Third straight 90-point season as Crosby finishes with 91 points. Third straight 90-point season for 37-year-old Sidney Crosby. Career high for 32-year-old Brian Rust, 31 goals. Career high for Rickard Rakell, 35 goals. I didn't check if he got to 70 points or not. I suppose that's sort of insignificant in terms of a milestone, but a career year for Rakell. If the Penguins were trying to turn it around and just be competitive quickly, they could. But they want to be Stanley Cup contenders. And this is going to be a pretty interesting offseason. How deep are they going to cut? Because they have a base of older players to build on. Will that be enough for them? I don't know which way Kyle Dubas is going to go this summer. He could trade both Rickard Rakell and Brian Rust. He could keep both. I actually have some inside info on Rickard Rakell that I'll be, I should put in print before I talk about it here on YouTube. The Penguins got some offers. I can confirm that much. And the offers were enough to create some internal discussion. That's it. I covered all 82 games, home and road. I can't guarantee I'm the only reporter in the league to do it this year, but I think so. And I thank you for sticking around and watching all these videos and liking and subscribing. Do that now, because you think we're done? Ha! We got a crap ton more to go. We've got Wilkes-Barre. Hotel is booked. We've got after Wilkes-Barre. I mean, we're going to keep doing the Penguins live chats and some probably topic-specific videos, as well as some Wilkes-Barre videos too, and draft breakdowns and free agent breakdowns. I kind of like this YouTube stuff. I've got some editing software, blah, blah, blah. I thank you all. I really do. It's been a blast. It's been exhausting. It's beaten the tar out of me, picked me up, and then beaten the tar out of me again. A whole lot of 5 a.m. flights and 3 a.m. wake-up calls and long drives and close calls. The would-be mugger in Calgary still kind of makes me shake my head. It's, I guess, all in a season. So thank you very much. I'm going to put a little link to the tip jar. Buy me a hot dog for Wilkes-Barre. You keep this going, the PHN Plus subscriptions and the tips. Obviously, travel doesn't make money. That's why most of the newspapers have cut back on it. Not just Pittsburgh, like all over the country, all over Canada. In fact, even the Toronto writers barely travel. Think about that. Toronto and Montreal barely travels anymore. The hockey hotbeds aren't spending the money, and yet we're dumb enough too. So if you can help out a little more, that would be quite awesome. But you don't have to. That's all I'm going to ask. All right, from PPG Paints Arena here, where the lights look a lot brighter on the screen than they do in real life. If this were Cheers, I'd go straight in the picture of Tecumseh. If this were Friends, I guess I'd leave the keys on the counter. If this were Seinfeld, I'd write a better finale. All right, I'm done. Have fun, and we'll talk from Wilkes-Barre.